Have you ever noticed that the experiences that hurt you the most may have also changed the way you see people, danger, emotions, and the world around you? Sometimes pain doesn't just leave a scar. It can make you unusually observant, cautious, emotionally perceptive, and capable of noticing things other people completely miss. Watch this video until the very end, because we're going to uncover 10 signs that difficult experiences may have shaped a rare form of psychological awareness. From reading subtle changes in people's behavior to anticipating problems before they happen and understanding emotions without needing them explained. But here's the important part. This isn't about glorifying trauma or saying that suffering automatically makes someone smarter. It's about understanding how the mind can adapt to difficult experiences and how some of those adaptations can become powerful strengths when they are understood and managed in a healthy way. If you've ever felt like you notice too much, think too deeply, or understand people in ways you can't explain, this video may help you finally understand why. You know what's strange? Some of the most perceptive, emotionally intelligent people you'll ever meet didn't develop those abilities through books, classrooms, or years of meditation. They developed them because at some point in their lives, they had to. Their nervous system was trained, not by choice, but by circumstances that required them to read rooms, predict moods, and think several steps ahead just to feel safe. Psychologists have started calling this traumatic intelligence. And if you've never heard of it before, that's exactly why this video matters. Here's the psychological premise. Trauma doesn't only wound people. In many cases, it also sharpens them. Research in developmental psychology suggests that children who grow up in unpredictable or emotionally complex environments often develop a heightened sensitivity to social cues, emotional patterns, and nonverbal communication. Their brains, specifically the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex, are wired early on to detect subtle signals that most people completely miss. The result is a form of intelligence that looks almost invisible from the outside, but runs incredibly deep on the inside. The first sign is that you can read a room before anyone says a word. You walk into a space, and something shifts in you. A quiet alertness. You pick up on tension in someone's posture or a micro-expression that crosses a person's face for less than a second. This isn't intuition in the mystical sense. It's pattern recognition. Your brain was trained from an early age to scan your environment for emotional data because at some point that scanning kept you safe. The second sign is that you are deeply attuned to other people's needs, sometimes before they are. You notice when someone is struggling, even when they say they're fine. You sense the shift in someone's energy before they've had a chance to process it themselves. Psychologists refer to this as hyper-empathy, and it often develops in people who grew up needing to track the emotional states of caregivers or family members closely. You learn to feel others because your environment required it. The third sign is that you are an exceptional problem solver, especially under pressure. When things fall apart around you, something in you goes calm and strategic. You don't freeze, you adapt. This is the nervous system doing something fascinating. Individuals who experienced early adversity often develop what researchers describe as stress inoculation, meaning their brains are better calibrated to manage high-stakes situations because high-stakes situations were simply their normal. You don't panic when the pressure is on. Instead, you step into a calm, organized mode. You assess the situation, identify solutions, and act without hesitation. The stress you experienced growing up prepared you for moments like this. What others may see as overwhelming chaos, you see as a puzzle to be solved. The fourth sign is that you think deeply about human behavior, almost compulsively. You analyze why people do what they do. You replay conversations. You search for the meaning behind actions that others don't even register. This depth of psychological thinking isn't random. It was forged by years of trying to understand the unpredictable behavior of people around you. You became a student of human nature because understanding people felt essential to your well-being. As a result, you've developed the ability to anticipate people's responses or actions before they even happen. You can predict how someone will react in a given situation based on their behavior, mood, and body language. This skill makes you highly adaptable in social settings as you're often one step ahead of others in terms of emotional dynamics. Your ability to read and respond to people has become second nature. The fifth sign. Consider this for a moment. Everything you've heard so far, the perceptiveness, the empathy, the analytical mind, these are not weaknesses dressed up as strengths. They are genuine cognitive and emotional adaptations, and they tell a story about how remarkably responsive the human brain is to experience. You develop this intelligence not out of luxury, but because your environment demanded it. What others might label as too sensitive or overthinking is actually the result of your mind working tirelessly to stay safe, to adapt, and to understand your surroundings better than most. The sixth sign is that you have a highly developed sense of self-reliance. You don't wait for people to rescue you. You build solutions independently and quietly. This self-sufficiency often surprises people who know you, but it makes complete sense developmentally. When the environment in childhood wasn't reliably supportive, the brain learned to internalize resourcefulness. Dependence felt risky, so competence became the default. You may have learned early on that asking for help wasn't always an option, so you had to find your own way. You developed a quiet strength that's not reliant on others' support or validation. While others may look for external guidance or reassurance, you look inward to find solutions. And this quiet independence often gives you a sense of calm amidst chaos. The more challenges you face, the more you thrive in creating your own path. The seventh sign is that you feel things more intensely than the people around you seem to. Music hits differently. Injustice bothers you on a visceral level. A kind gesture from a stranger can genuinely move you. This emotional depth is a hallmark of traumatic intelligence. The amygdala, which processes emotional experience, becomes highly sensitized through repeated emotional activation in life. The result is a person who doesn't just observe the world, they feel it at a frequency most people don't have access to. Your emotional radar is finely tuned, and this deep emotional capacity can often feel like both a gift and a curse. On one hand, you experience the world with a profound intensity, but on the other hand, it can also make you more vulnerable to emotional exhaustion or overwhelm. You carry the weight of the world's injustices, pain, and beauty, often without realizing just how deeply you absorb these feelings. The eighth sign is that you struggle to trust easily, but when you do trust, it's profound. Your threshold for trust is simply higher than average. This isn't cynicism, it's a calibrated response. Cognitive psychologists call this adaptive skepticism. Your brain learned early that not all signals of safety were genuine, so it built filters. And those filters, while sometimes isolating, also mean that the connections you do form tend to be honest, meaningful, and unusually resilient. Once trust is earned, however, you are incredibly loyal and unwavering. Your relationships are built on solid, genuine foundations because you've learned to be cautious in giving your trust. You don't hand out trust easily, but once it's given, it's a bond that is difficult to break.